Hey class, I'm gonna do a quick little demo of the current assignment that I've called, see how's the lighting here, yeah it's pretty good, that I've called layers. And this, the idea of layers, as I said in my introduction, layers are like, in my opinion, one of the most important concepts to painting. And making a good painting. If you look at good paintings, they tend to be built up in many, many, many layers. Even paintings that are very improvisational and loose and kind of gestural tend to have many layers to them. And part of that has to do with the artist kind of taking risks with their painting and building up layers and editing and changing and adapting, and really in many ways not possessing a clear idea of what a finished painting is going to look like. There's more life to that concept if you think about it. So layers. Typically when I see a lot of student work, it's really weak in this regard because, well, let me digress a little bit. The other thing about layers is that you want to think about layers in a painting as being part of the exploration of the painting. So the painting isn't just something you imagine in your head and then you copy what you imagine. So so experienced artists understand that a painting evolves through the process of making it. Okay, so they may, like I may think, oh, I'm going to do a painting of a flower here, so I have this general idea, but I really don't. I may even say I'm going to paint a rose, but I don't really know the exact sort of contours or the look of that painting until I get going on it. I trust in the process to create something that is interesting and lively. So layers are part of that idea. I'm going to grab a brush here. So for this exercise, I want you to use your number 12 brush, the bigger one, number 12, says number 12 right there. I squirted a couple little bits of paint out on my palette, which is a big mess. So get your palette, and then just add a little bit of water to the paint. You always want to adjust the paint a little bit out of the tube to give it a little bit more fluidity. If you have your gel medium, try that. So I'm just going to take my number 12 brush and start making marks. And I said in the assignment and this is on your canvas pad. Okay, so there's a mark. And make them kind of, I'm going to mix a little bit of yellow with this orange to change it a bit. Make another mark. A little bit, another orange mark here. And don't think too hard about it, but try to make them fairly consistent so that, you know, I'm using the whole width of the brush to make the mark. Maybe let them cross here and there, that's fine, doesn't matter. I'm gonna rinse this out now quick. Always keep a little bit of water handy to clean your brush off. If you're gonna change colors, I'm gonna switch to using the blue. I'm gonna mix the blue with a little bit of white here, just to modify it a bit. A little bit of white in the blue. Okay, a little bit of water. I'm going to throw a little bit of yellow in this blue to make it green. Okay. A bit more yellow. It's okay to play around with mixing different colors together. Don't be afraid to do that. There's a couple different ways to affect color or to change colors that you're putting down. One is to obviously mix a color with another color. The other thing is to understand that the sort of transparency or sort of density of the color changes what the color looks like too. water. It's kind of. So I'm going to let it sit now. As you build up the layers, you want them to dry, okay? Pretty thoroughly. So I'm going to pause it and I'll start it back up in a while. Okay, back again. These are fairly dry, just as little, maybe you could call this a pro tip or whatever, to help me dry my paintings a little quicker. I always use a hair dryer, or this isn't a hair dryer, it's a power strip or a heat stripper. So if you're using one of these, you gotta be careful that you don't like completely annihilate your paper or melt your paint. But if I get way back on it, it helps it dry pretty quickly. And this is pretty good. So it's only been about 10 minutes since I worked on this. But you know, a hair dryer works really great for this too. My, something fell. Hair dryers work really well to do this. So just get your hair dryer out and just kind of start drying it, and you'll be amazed how quickly they dry. So next step, and one other little tip, even if the paint is dry, it's not 100% cured, so I might get a little bit of pulling up on this, but that's okay. It's for demonstration purposes. So I'm gonna switch up colors a little bit here and go with some reds and violets just to create some contrast and interest. Putting them on my palette. Same idea, get a little bit of water on those, or your medium. Technically your water is your medium, and start making some marks on top. Okay, I'm gonna stop and let that dry again. The idea is to, again, just fill this whole thing up with these kind of marks, okay? I'm gonna do one more layer on this. Okay, so I'm doing another layer here. Get my brush clean. This is pretty dry. So I'm going with some blues and violets for this one. Start with the violet. You don't have to go all the way across. Obviously, you can stop. Add some white to it. The idea is just keep building up these layers of marks so that all the white is covered. And you're making observations just about how the colors work off each other, how they change each other as they're layered, what a blue looks like after you put a green on top of it. And of course, they're going to mix into each other too, because some of these marks are, I'm trying to avoid, think like I just put that one down, I just put this one down, so I'm just going to throw a horizontal mark right across this to kind of cover up that area. Oops. Try to keep them as even as possible. Then do this, I don't know, 10 layers. Just see how far you can push it. Even at some point, do a whole transparent layer over the thing, then add more marks. And just keep adding mark after mark, and try to do like 10 or 15 layers total. I made the due date kind of out on this, so you can just kind of keep building and building and building. It's interesting to see what happens when you push something way beyond what you thought it could be, okay? So give it a try, and I'll post this video up and talk to you later. Thank you.